So for question 21, we have the expression 6, and then we have the fifth root of 3 to the fifth, x to the 45th, times the eighth root of 2 to the eighth, x, which is equal to ax to the b, where a and b are positive constants, and x is greater than 1. What is the value of a plus b? Well, in this case, we start with the 6, we multiply by, so on the inside, we have this 5, this is the fifth root, and we have 3 to the fifth. So if we do 3 times 3 times 3 times, you get 3, and then we take the fifth root of that, we just end up with 3. So we have 6 times 3, and then we'll worry about the x part later. And then, so for the second one, we have 2 to the eighth, and we also have the eighth root. So in this case, we'll just have 2. So times 2. 6 times 3 is 18. Times 2 is 36. So that's the first part for A. And then for the second part for B, here we have x to the 45th, which we have to take 45 and then divide by 5 because we're taking the fifth root. So 45 divided by 5 is equal to 9. So we have x to the ninth power plus. So for the right side, this is x to the first power effectively. So we just take the first divided by the eighth root. So we have 1 over 8. So 9 plus 1/8. Well, first we need to find a common denominator. So the common denominator of 9 and 1/8 would just be an eighth. So we take 9 and multiply by 8, which is 72, plus 1 is 73 over 8. And we're asked to find a plus b. So 36 plus 73 over 8. Well, we also have to find a common denominator of 36. So we just take 36 and multiply by 8 to get 288 over 8 plus 73 over 8. 288 plus 73 is going to be 361 over 8. So this is the correct answer, 361 over 8. You could have also entered a decimal approximation of that, which would have been something like 45.12 or 45.13. Okay, question 22.
If anyone has any questions, they can always raise their hand. You can unmute yourself. I have allowed you to. Kubra, Miri, I have allowed you to talk. You can unmute yourself and ask your questions.
يشوف خليه يقول ما مرسل مرسل بيا يعني ميوت استخدم بالإرسال يعني ميوت مش يصور.
If you have any questions, you can unmute yourself. Otherwise, please keep yourself on mute, please, so that other kids cannot get disturbed. Okay? If there is any questions, you can unmute yourself.
What do we do right now?
Usha, you can continue with this question.
Okay. So in this case, so I'm relatively sure the way I'm solving this is not the right way, but it works. So what is the area of the triangle? Well, in this case, the area of the triangle, um, I'm going to be using Heron's formula to solve this. So in this case, this would just be the square root of s times s minus a times s minus b times s minus c, where s is equal to a plus b plus c plus all over 2. So this is how I solved it.
What
I
does
would
S stand for?
this is just a variable. So instead of writing a plus b plus c over 2 all of these times here, I'm just using variable s to represent that. So in this case, we just have to plug in 2 root 2, 6 root 2, and root 80 for s. And once we do that, and solve the square root, we get answer choice B as the correct answer of 12. So you just have to plug in these numbers into this formula. Okay, question 23. And I think there is another way to solve it, but I'm not entirely sure. But I use that method.
In the end of the sentence, it says which of the following must be an integer. What is an integer?
So an integer is just a positive, or not necessarily positive, but it's just like a whole number value. Any real number that can be written without a fraction.
Okay.
Okay, so for question 23, we have expression 4x squared plus bx minus 45, where b is a constant, can be written as hx plus k times k plus j, where h, k, and j are integer constants, which are following must be an integer. So in this case, if we have hx plus k and we have x plus j, when we multiply them out, we get hx squared, kx, hxj, and we have kj. And in reference to the first one, h would have to be 4. H is 4. Um, we know that kx plus xj is equal to bx, and we know that k times j has to be equal to negative 45. So it asks us, which of the following must be an integer? So must be an integer. In that case, the only one would have to relate to this 45 term, so it would have to either be C or D. And for C, we have 45 over H. Well, 45 over H, well, we know 4 is H, and 45 divided by 4 is not a whole number. And then for D, we have 45 over K. Well, when we do 45 and we divide by K, we know that 45 is equal to uh, K times J. So if we divide by K, we know that the answer would just be J. So 45 divided by K is equal to J, which we're told that J is an integer constant, so it must be an integer because we're told that it is an integer constant. Okay. Should 24. Okay, so for question 24, the best way to solve this is to just graph it. So in this case, we have two functions. So like we could try to solve the system equations, but with three variables with both x, y, and a, which is some constant that we don't know, we'd have to use calculus. So instead of doing that, I would just recommend graphing that. So we have 2x squared minus 21x plus 64. So this function right here, and we're told the other function y equals 3x plus a. So we have y equals 3x. Plus a is some constant, so that could be a positive or negative constant, and we're told they intersect at exactly 1 point. So in this case, we just plug in the answer choices. So for this question, we have the choices -8, uh, -6, +6, and 8. So in this case, we have +6. That's not a plus. So we have +6. This intersects twice. +8 also intersects twice. We have -8, which intersects once right here at x equals +6, y equals 10. So for this question, it asks what is the value of x if there's only one intersection point. So in this case, the value of x when there's only one intersection point is at 6. So the correct answer is C. Okay, question 25. Okay, so for question 25, so we have an isosceles right triangle. So that would be like this. This right triangle and this angle are equal. Well, I mean, just starting off, all isosceles right triangles have angle measures of x, and root 2x, or root 2 times x. So it asks us what is the perimeter in inches of a triangle. We know the hypotenuse is length 58. So that would be this part is 58 equals root 2 times x. So in this case, if we want to find the perimeter, well, first we would have to have 58 as one of the two side lengths, and then we'd have to find what x is. So we do 58 divided by square root of 2, which would get us around 41 approximately. And then when we multiply by 2, because we have 2x, that gets us approximately 82. That's 82. 82 is approximately equal to 58 root 2, because if we do 58 times the square root of 2, we get 82.02. So the correct answer is C, 58 plus 58 root 2. Or actually, a simple way would have just been 8 divided by root 2 equals x. I'll just take this to the bottom side, and then you just multiply by 2. 2 times 58 over root 2, which would simplify to 58 2. Because it's 2 to the first, and this is just 2 to the 1/2, this denominator. Okay. Question 26. So question 26. So first we need to write this in the vertex form. So in this case, we have x minus 9 squared minus 14. And we have some a value at the beginning because we don't know the 2 points it intersects. So this a value just affects how wide the curve is. So these both have the same vertex, but the a value affects how wide it is. So we don't know that value yet. So we know that for a parabola, y equals ax squared plus bx plus c. And we know that the vertex also has x coordinate of x equals negative b over 2a. So in this case, we also know that the y coordinate is at the minimum if a is greater than 0, or maximum if a is less than 0. So with the vertex at 9, negative 14, we're told we can plug in to this to get negative b over 2a is equal to 9, which gives us b is equal to negative 18a. And once we substitute x equals 9 and y equals negative 14, there's not enough space here. We get negative 14 equals 81a plus 9b plus c. And so now, since we know that b is equal to negative 18a, we can substitute. So we have negative 14 equals 81a. And then we have 9 times b. B is negative 18a. So if we substitute into for that, we get negative 162a plus c, or c is some constant. And so after that, if we simplify and we solve for the c value, we get c is equal to, so 81 minus 162, and bring it to the other side, we get c equals negative 14 plus 81a. So that's to solve for the c value. And so now we need to find a plus b plus c. And so we have values for all three of these now in terms of a. So for a, we have just a. For b, we plug in the b value. So this would just be negative 18a. So we have a minus 18a. And then for the c value, we have negative 14 plus 81a. So we have minus 14 plus 81a. So now, instead of working with 3 variables, we've narrowed it down to only one variable, which is a, which is also equal to a plus b plus c. So now we just have to solve for a. So I'm going to write that here. So we have a minus 18a plus 81a. So that would just be a minus, or no, 1 minus 18 plus 81 is equal to 64. So we have 64a minus 14. And we know that the parabola intersects the x-axis at 2 points. So it must open upward because this vertex has a negative y value. So if this is the x-axis, we know that it must open upwards. That means that the a value must be greater than 0. So now we just have to match these possible values. So we get a plus b plus c is equal to 64a minus 14. So we just have to set these different values equal to this function. So 23 is equal to this, 19 is equal to this, negative 14 is equal to this, and negative 12 is equal to this, and see where we get an a value which is greater than 0. So if we plug in negative 23 is equal to 64a minus 14, we get a is equal to negative 9 over 64, which is not greater than 0. It's a negative value, so it can't be answer choice A. For answer choice B, we have negative 19 equals 64a minus 14. If we solve for A, we would get A is equal to negative 5 over 64, which is still less than 0. And then for answer choice C, we would get A minus, we would get 64a is equal to 0. That would make a equal to 0. 0 is still not greater than 0. In fact, 0 would mean it's not a parabola at all. It would be a line. And then for answer choice D, we have negative 12 is equal to 64a minus 14. So 64a is equal to 2. So a is equal to 1 over 32. So 1 over 32 is a positive value, so the correct answer is D. So basically, I just solved, instead of working with all 3 of these variables, I just solved to work with 1, which was just a, and then I plugged in. Okay, question 27. Okay, so for question 27, so we're given a function, given another function, and we're told the product is 65 over 7, and we're given the intercept. So we need to find A. So first, we use this piece of information right here. So we start by plugging into f of x to find y. So because we know what y should equal, and we need to find what the value of b is. So in this case, we plug in f of 0 because we know x is equal to 0 is equal to negative a x is 0 plus b. Anything to the 0th power is 1, so we still have this negative, so we have negative 1 plus b. And then we can plug that in here to this y formula. So we have y equals, so for f of x, we plug in this negative 1 plus b, negative 1 plus b, and we still have the negative 15, so this minus 15 from here. After that, we need to solve this part. So negative 1 plus b is just equal to b minus 16. So we have negative 15 and we have negative 1, so that's just minus 16. So y equals b minus 16. We know that y equals negative 99 over 7. So b minus 16 is equal to negative 99 over 7. So now we have to solve for b. So we subtract 16 from both sides to get b. So 99 over 7 minus 16 should get us b is equal to 13 over 7. And then so for after that, we're given the product of a and b is 65 over 7. So we know that AB is equal to 65 over 7. And we have B is equal to 13 over 7. So we can just do A times 13 over 7 is equal to 65 over 7. In this case, since all of these are over 7 and these are multiplied, we can just multiply the entire equation by 7 from both sides, and we just get 13a is equal to 65. And then divide both sides by 13, and we get a is equal to 5. So the correct answer is a is equal to 5. So the value of a is 5. Next question. Okay, question 1 of section 2. Okay, so for question 1, told in which year was the estimated number of chipmunks in the state park the greatest? So that's just the estimated number of chipmunks is on the y-axis, and we have a year, so the greatest value is right here in 1994. Our answer choice B. Okay, question 2. Okay, so for question 2, we're told a distance in yards, and we just have to convert to miles. So in this case, 1 mile is equal to 1,760 yards. So we just take the yards and divide by this number. So 5104 divided by 1760 would be equal to 2.9. So the correct answer is B. Just because these two numbers are way too big. 3,000 times at minimum 1,000 is way bigger than 5,000. And 0.3 means less than 1,760. So the correct answer is B. You can obviously just put it in your calculator if you don't want to look at the answer choices when making your decision. Question 3. So for question 3, which expression is equivalent to 12x to the third minus 5x to the third? In this case, since the x values are the same, we can just subtract the front coefficients. So 12 minus 5 is equal to 7. So the correct answer would just be answer choice C, 7x to the third. Okay. And it's 6:30 or 7:30 or 5:30.
Yeah, they are in Houston, so it's 5:30. Okay. We'll end the session. Thank you, everybody, for joining us. Bye-bye. See you next week.